Hello everybody, today we're going to be comparing the legacy brands of purples. So we're just going to stick within the purple hue range, so let's get to it. I am going to start with Windsor Newton, and believe it or not, I did not have any Windsor and Newton purples or violets. But I do have dot cards. So I'm going to pull these off of dot cards. The dot cards do not have the pigment information. They just have the light fastness and the color name and whether it's staining or granulating. So we'll go from there. I had to look up the pigment numbers so you would have a better idea of what it was going to do. And I will try to pull off the stingy amount they give and put it onto this cotton paper so we can see how it reacts. And I'm going to wet the paper so we can get a better look on how these purples react. I'm not going to mix these purples because I typically don't mix purples unless I want to dull it down or mute it a little bit. So I'm just going to put them on straight the paper and we'll just go from there. Now you can see I'm having trouble. They don't give you very much to work from. I think it's just to pull down on the paper. The first one is Cobalt Violet. And it's a PV as in Victor 14. PV 14. Try to get a little bit more here. At least you can kind of get an idea on how it moves. And if it granulates. And I think it will granulate because it's a cobalt. So here we go to the next one. The next one is Permanent Mauve or Mauve. I always called it Mauve. And it is PV19. So it may have a little bit stronger pigment to put down. I just don't have very much paint on these. They do not give you very much to work with. I think out of all the brands, the sample sheets, I liked Da Vinci's the best. They just really were generous with their samples. Okay, this is PV19 Permanent Mauve. That's pretty color. Very pretty color. There's just not much of it to get a mass tone. Okay, the next one we have is Quinacridone Violet. And it is PV 55. It's a stronger violet. Oh, that really moves. I really like that one. I always like a watercolor that really reacts nice with water. Oh yeah, that one's a nice one. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. See if I can get a little bit more on there to get a mass tone. That re-wet easier too, because that cobalt just takes a little bit more encouragement to get to a state where it will re-wet easily. Okay. And the next one we have is Ultramarine Violet. Just trying to pull it up here. PV 15. That moves well. Moves really well. PV 15. See if I can get a little bit more. Put over here. That's a pretty purple. I expect our best one's going to be Windsor Violet. Their Windsor colors are nice and really pigmented. Okay, Windsor Violet. And this is a dioxazine, which is PV 23. Very nice. Very nice. Excellent. And it didn't take much of that at all. And you could make a good dark with this. Oh, that's so pretty. PV 23. So pretty. All right, let's go to the next brand. Okay, the next brand I'm going to swatch out is Michael Harding. I don't have too awful many of his colors, but I do have Quinacridone Purple and Wisteria. And Wisteria has white in it, so it will be a different color of purple. It'll be more of a pastel, but we will just test it. And I'm going to test the Quinacridone Purple first. It might be more like this Quin Violet over here. And I'm going to go ahead and wet both of these boxes. Might have to wet them again. So let's go with the Quinacridone Purple first. I didn't mark them. I think I forgot to start my camera. Shoot. So I did put that Michael Harding's Quin Purple down. It's PV 55. And it is very, very similar to this Quin Violet over here in Windsor Newton. I was able to get it to a nice mass tone. It didn't flow very well, but you know, it is a beautiful color. You can see, you know, it kind of flows, but not like I want it to. Not like this Ultramarine Violet did. That was pretty. So, all right, let's go to the next one, which is Wisteria. Let's make sure I'm in the picture here. Okay. I think it's really important, and I do a lot of research on YouTube too, as well, to find the perfect color, although I do my due diligence in purchasing. But maybe not all of you want to do this. You know, maybe you want to, you just want to buy the paints you need. But buying paint and art supplies brings me joy. Makes me happy. I know it makes a lot of artists happy. There's the Wisteria. It's got PW6, PR122, and PB29. It's moving a little bit. It's opaque with that PW6 in it. It's moving a little bit, but I don't know, I think it's pretty for flowers and to drop in skies. And I like lavender for skies too. And for some reason, I cannot find my lavender. So it might be in a travel bag somewhere. I'm going to pull this out so you can see it. It's got PB29 in it, so it has a possibility, and it looks like it is going to have some granulation to it. I just love this Painter's Color Diary. I just think it really helps you see. Let me back that out a little bit. It just really helps you see all the colors next to each other. All right, now we'll go on to the next brand. Okay, the next brand I have is Holbein. So Holbein is a really good watercolor brand. I have a Holbein palette that I keep in the house, and I really enjoy it. But it's a brand that I don't think flows too much. We'll test this. The first one I have is Mineral Violet. It is PB29, PR122, and PBR25. So that's a little bit different. These are the only two Holbein purples I have. So that PBR25, oh, that's really pretty. That could be like it doesn't really flow much, but that PBR usually is a brown pigment. Not a whole lot of flow, but it's moving a little bit. That's really pretty though. You get a good mass tone with it. Yeah, I really like it. It kind of reminds me of Quinn Purple over here. And the light fastness, all I have it in is a 5 ml tube. And I'm going to pull the light fast information off of AutoCano's website. She gives it a 3 out of 4. Mid staining, non-granulating. Oh, I don't know though. This is her tests that she's done. I think it could be a little bit granulating with the ultramarine in it. PBR 29. Let me get a little bit more water and put in there. That's really pretty. Really pretty. Let's see what that stands for. Oh, she also has listed on here whether it's vegan or non-vegan. So if you're interested in that, she just has a really comprehensive database, and I just prefer her database It's just so easy to use. And she has swatches and everything. So let me get back to the next one, Permanent Violet. And I'm going to wet this page and make sure I'm recording. Permanent Violet. Yeah, I'll link her website in the description below. You know, I was looking at my analytics. A lot of you enjoyed my yellow comparison. And I found that like 80-some% of the people that were watching my videos were not subscribed. So if you just hit that subscribe button and become part of our community, we have lots of good information that comes out. Oh, here's that PV23, same as Windsor Violet. Yep, not much movement. A little bit. It's a beautiful, beautiful purple. Beautiful purple. Holbein is a good brand, and a lot of artists use it, I think, because it does kind of stay where you put it. But it just goes down on the paper so beautifully. Permanent Violet. So pretty. All right, we'll get the next brand going. Okay, the next brand we're going to do is M. Graham. So M. Graham is a popular brand. Very high quality. Made from honey. It's binded with honey. And I like it. I like it a lot. But in my palettes, I cannot keep it in a palette unless I keep that palette flat, because it will drip and go on and travel down the palette and make quite a bit of a mess. But it's a wonderful paint. This is Dioxazine Purple, and it's PV23, like Windsor Newton, like Holbein Permanent Violet. So let's just test it out and compare it against those. So far, the Windsor Violet moved the best. The Holbein, it's beautiful, but I do like it when a watercolor moves. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. It is moving beautifully. Okay. That does seem I can get a good mass tone. Really good mass tone. I really love the way it moves. Love the way it moves. It seems a little bit more blue in hue than the Holbein and the Windsor Violet. It just leans a little bit more blue. All right, let's take that out. Let's get my paper towel over here. Oh, it's about the same. It's got a huge pigment load. I did not put very much on there at all. You know, Windsor Violet probably has a good pigment load too, but I just didn't have enough to work with. Okay, the next one we have is Ultramarine Deep. Ultramarine Violet Deep. and it's PV15, as this is the Windsor Newton PV15. I like to swatch on cotton paper. Because I want to see how it, you just don't get much back runs. Now I got some back run here because I just put extra water in there. But that is separating beautifully. I love how the pink and blue are coming apart. Uh-oh. Can't get this open. There it goes. Sometimes when you get a paper towel, you can get a little bit better grip on it. But if not, I'll try to link a tube opener in the description below. All right, I've got quite a bit of pigment on there. So, well, might have to get some off. This is M Graham Ultramarine Violet Deep. This is so pretty. This is much more purple tone than the Ultramarine Violet in the Windsor Newton. Got a good mass tone. Doesn't want to move very well. A little bit. Hearing some thunder outside. I can definitely feel that syrupy consistency from the honey. This is a beautiful color. I'm getting weather notifications on my phone. There is a storm coming in. I think this will be a granulating color as well. Because I can kind of see it granulating a little bit. But I'm not going to flood it like I did this one. The Holbein Mineral Violet, it's very pretty. Very pretty. Okay, on to the next brand. We're getting some really pretty purples going on. Okay, the next brand I have is Mission Gold. And it has some different pigment information on it. It's called Bright Clear Violet. It's the only one I have. I have a red violet, but it's more red leaning, more like this cobalt violet. I just don't think that it belongs in this category. But this one, and the light fastness of this is a little bit iffy too. When I looked up on AutoCano's website, and on the tube as well. Let's see if I can get this. It says light fastness is 2 stars. Mission Gold is a really pretty paint. It paints well. It's made in Korea. And this is not the student brand. But I don't know if this would be light fast. It's a beautiful purple. It pretty much stays where you put it, kind of like Holbein. And it's called Bright Clear Violet. The pigment information is BV 3.2, PB29, and PR122. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. And I would say, you know, if you wanted a set of paints for your sketchbook only, the color payoff is gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful. This was one of my first sets. And I enjoyed it a lot. And I just bought these little tubes, and I'm still working off of them. But my Mission Gold set is almost empty, and I'm just waiting for it to get empty so I can put some different colors in it and make a different palette. All right, isn't that pretty? That is really, really pretty. And I don't know what would fade in it. I think that there's probably some, I need to do some research on what BV is, because I've seen that in Holbein gouache as well. So I'm going to pause the camera again, and I'm going to look that up. Okay, so I went and looked this up, and I made double sure, and that is a PV as in Victor 3:2, and so that is a violet pigment, but it's not light fast, so that one will fade. The French Ultramarine and the PR122 might hang around a little bit longer, so if you put it in the direct sunlight, it's going to change on you. I really love that. I think it's just beautiful. It's still wet and hasn't lost its, oh, I don't know. It's just so beautiful. So far, that's my favorite. But we'll see after it dries. It's still wet. But now they do have another bright violet. This is bright clear violet. They do have a bright violet that has a BV. And I looked that up, and that is like what's in Opera Rose that's fugitive. And those are not light fast at all. But I don't have any of that. I have Opera Rose, but, you know, and I use it because, you know, it's a beautiful color. But I don't expect it to hang around in a painting. Now, I think you could spray it with UV varnish and test it, and I might do that one of these days. Okay, so now the next brand I have is Rosa Gallery. It's becoming a fave, and we are going to wet the paper here. And to give it a fair shot, I'm using a pan for this. So where others I took straight from the tube, except for the Windsor Newton. But just to see, this is totally dry. It's not pre-wetted at all. And this is quinacridone violet. But I just want to show you how good these paints are straight from the pan. These just pick up beautifully. This is quinacridone violet. Look at that. Oh my gosh. These are so nice. I've got some of these listed and linked in the description below, and they are not expensive. They are so beautiful. These paints are so beautiful. Quinacridone Violet, PV19, PB15. So that's like a, gosh, that's like a mix of ultramarine violet and Permanent Mauve. Kind of looks like what it would be. I don't know. It's really pretty. Quin Violet. A little bit different than Quin Purple. It has a light fastness of 3. Very good light fastness. 3 stars. Oh, that is so pretty. I'll do the same thing with this one. Rosa Gallery Violet. PV 23. Now it has 2 stars. Still had a little purple in my brush. I'll get a little bit of water. This is totally dry. And I'm going to get some and just put it straight down on the paper. Oh my gosh, I love it when watercolors move like that. That is so pretty. I think that beats that Mission Gold. I don't know. That Mission Gold was really pretty. This Rosa Gallery is too. Really, really pretty. I'm going to take it out a little bit. Dry my brush a little bit. So you can see how beautiful these paints are. I linked the modern set. I'll make sure that these are in there. That is so pretty. That's very, very close to the Mission Gold. And that's just a single pigment. So, you know, that's so pretty. So pretty. There's a lot to choose from. And I don't think you can go wrong with any of these legacy brands. And the Rosa Gallery is a fairly new brand. And so is Michael Harding. But, you know, your Holbein, your Windsor Newton, we haven't even got to Daniel Smith yet. So, all right, the next one I'm going to do is Core. And it is called Dioxazine. And it is a PV 23. I'm expecting it to be the same pigment as the Rosa Gallery. And I'm expecting it to flow well because Core is known for their flow. But we'll see. I'm going to have to go into some clean water there. All right, look at that go. Oh my gosh. This is made with Aquazol. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. I love the way that moves. Gosh, Core is pretty nice. And that's a PV 23. I'm just going to let that dry like that. Light fastness is excellent in PV 23. That's really pretty. I love that. Okay, on to the next brand. The next brand I have is American Journey, and it's called Royal Amethyst, but underneath it in parentheses and small print, it says Dioxazine, and it is PV 23 as well. So we're going to wet the paper. And I know that there's a little bit of purple tint to that. I'm going to have to get some fresh water over here. And go ahead and do that Da Vinci Violet as our next one, which is the same pigment. Okay, so let's do Royal Amethyst, American Journey. They come in these huge big tubes, and compared to a regular watercolor tube, here's a Schminke. It's like, this is 15 ml and this is 37 ml. So it's a lot of paint, you know, and I wouldn't be scared to go in there and use a lot of paint if I had these watercolors. And I do have several. I don't have them all. It doesn't quite move like Core does, but it's a good purple. This says the light fastness is moderately permanent, light fastness 3. For the Da Vinci, I just have the sample pack, so I'm going to go with the Da Vinci Violet. It's number 2. And I'm going into it with a dry, or just with a wet brush. I didn't pre-wet it. And it should be about the same. Although it's not moving. I think my paper dried. Okay, let's get some water here and see if we can kind of coax it to move. Yeah, we can. It's pretty. Oh, yeah, that's pretty. Yeah. Nice. Kind of reminds me of the core. I don't know. Would be hard to pick. Let's see if I can get that Cheap Joe's to move a little bit more. No, it's not really wanting to move like the Da Vinci did. And I think they're made by the same, I think American Journey is made by Da Vinci Violet. And they may have changed the formulation just a little bit when they make American Journey. You never know. You just never know. All right, we'll get ready for the next pigment. Okay, so this next brand is Schminke. Very well known, very high quality brand. And I just have a tube here and there of Schminke, and I have a 48 half pan set, which it's kind of hard to, when I got mine several years ago, it came, you know, not marked. I just had to put the numbers or the pigments on the, and it came in German, you know, so I'm not that familiar. Even it does have a little bit of English on the back, but it comes in 1, 2, 4, 5 languages. So, you know, I mean, it was difficult to figure out. I had to go to the Schminke website, and I have downloaded their color chart. And if you got the tubes, then all the information is on the tube. So that makes that easier. And we'll start with this one. It is number 472, Quinacridone Purple, PV55, which here's Quinacridone Purple, PV55. And then I had another one, I think, PV55. Oh, Quin Violet over here in Windsor Newton. So it should be about the same. One thing, when I order Schminke paints or anything from overseas, I think the pressurized environment of flying in the airplane. See, I'm having some binder separation on this. And it feels syrupy. It's a pretty color though. You can see the, you know, it's a little bit different than the Michael Harding quinacridone purple. PV55 and then PV55, the Quin Violet and the Windsor Newton. Same color, I just didn't have enough to put it mass tone. Schminke doesn't really flow well. They do have an ox gall pan in their pan set, and that will make it flow a little bit better. And it doesn't take much. A dab will do you. You just kind of got to swipe the pan, or, you know, you can take a little bit and put it in your water. So that helps. I really don't like the smell of it, but so I don't use it very often. So the next one is Schminke Manganese Violet. Let's make sure I'm recording. And I am. Okay, and I had to really go look things up because that is number 474 in these pans, which is right here. Put that back. Now that flows a little bit better, but I could still have some of that ox gall on my brush. It's just a little bit warmer than the quinacridone purple. It looks like it's going to be granulating. Pretty colors. Okay, the next brand is Gallow. Beautiful, beautiful watercolor paints. What I would consider a luxurious brand because they are expensive, but they are really quite luxurious. And this first one is Quin Purple. So just gonna leave it in the pan. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is PV55. Now, one thing I will say about Gallow is sometimes the texture of their paint feels a little rough. Feels a little gritty. And they don't move. They pretty much stay where you put them. But I did want to include this on my database or on my testing. I don't have a database. This is my database, old school database. So, and they just pretty much stay where you put them. So and a lot of people like that in a paint because, you know, they really don't want it to get out of control. They like to have more control with where they're putting their paint. But it's beautiful, it's vibrant, and I really think it's a beautiful, beautiful paint. The next one is Tyrian Purple. 1, 2, 3, Tyrian Purple. I'm taking them from a dried state. I'm not wetting them. Oh, that one's kind of hard to pick up. Might have to get a little water to activate that one. It's really pretty. It's PV15 and PV16. Okay. All right. Now the next one I'm putting on here, I really love this color. It's called Nocturno. Nocturno. It's a PB29, PR101, and PV19. And it's a deep, rich, almost black purple. I mean, it is really, really pretty. I love the color of it. It's like a smoky purple. I love it. Let me take that out so you can see. I know it looks almost black, but it's got that purple hue to it. It's really beautiful. It's like a deep smoky grape color. Oh, I love it. So, all right, that's a Gallow. Okay, the next brand I have is Celier, and I just have one purple in here. It's a Series 3 dioxazine purple, and it is PV23. Okay, got that wet. Definitely want to see how it moves. Okay, dioxazine purple. Let's make sure we got the right one. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Let's just tap it over here, make sure we got the right one. I think I'm going to have to wet it a little bit more. It feels nice. It's a honey based. Really vibrant color. Does have some flow to it. A little bit, not a whole lot. Really pretty, really vibrant, highly pigmented. That's a pretty purple. That's a pretty dioxazine. I'm just going to help it along a little bit so we can see that gradient. Very beautiful. Okay, now we're going to get to Daniel Smith. Okay, so I left this section for Daniel Smith, and I wanted to keep them all in the same section, so that's why I went a Gallow and Celier down this way. So I'm going to start with Daniel Smith's Quinacridone Violet and wet the page here. And then it has a, the other colors have a purple lid. This one has a little bit more of a red, but I've got Quin Violet here and Quin Purple here. So I definitely wanted to do a comparison on this Daniel Smith color, because Daniel Smith, I do believe it is, there's a little bit of binder separation there at the beginning, and that is red. PV19. It's not a violet much at all. I can see a little bit of an undertone, but I think if you're going for a more purple in a quinacridone violet, you might want to go up to Windsor Newton. Quinacridone Violet. But that's a PV19. This Quin Violet up here is a PV55. This Quin Purple's a PV55. This Permanent Mauve is a PV19. And that's just a really red. And I just don't think it needs to be in that section. But I did want to show it so you could know how red it is. If you're wanting a violet, that's really more of a red, and I can see some blue coming out from underneath, but it is a really red tone, a red hue, just for your information. I think it's important to know. Okay, here is an ultramarine violet, and it's a PV15. So see, that PV19 is a violet pigment, but they cover that a lot in a lot of pigments in Daniel Smith. They use PV19, like in quinacridone red and magenta, and there's quite a few colors they use PV19 for. Okay, this is ultramarine violet, PV15. I look for this to be more blue. Oh, but it's not. It's a nice purple. I look for it to granulate. PV15. Flows nice. It's nice purple. Ultramarine violet. I look for it to granulate because of the ultramarine part of it. It says PV15. Let me look on the tube again. Just PV15. Okay. So let's go on to the next one. That's a pretty purple. Okay, this is Carbazol Violet, and it is PV23. So it's your dioxazine. And it does say that on the tube where the pigment information is. It says dioxazine purple, but they call it Carbazol Violet. Deep, rich pigment. The flow is so-so. It doesn't rush across the page like Core did. Let's just see how that... Let's see if we can get it to flow a little bit more. Let's put a little bit of water in there. And try to pull it towards us. No. You know, it's okay. But it just doesn't really have a lot of flow power. But it is a beautiful purple. Let's coax it along. You know, also some pigments just may not be flowy. But boy, that core purple, that was gorgeous. And so was that Mission Gold. And the Rosa Gallery. Okay, let's wait and see how that dries down. Okay, this is a popular color among Daniel Smith enthusiasts. And it is Imperial Purple. And it's PV19 and PB29. So it's this and Ultramarine Blue, Imperial Purple. That is a pretty color. It's nice and bright. A little bit different tone, different hue. Maybe a little bit of flow, not much. It's pretty though. Really pretty. So far, and Celier's dioxazine purple is pretty too, but core, that flow turned me on. All right, let's go to Amethyst Genuine. And this says, of course, this is a Primatech, and it says it's genuine amethyst. And I'm really not concerned about that. I'm concerned about how it acts on the paper. So we'll see how that does. Oh, wow. That really acts nice on the paper. It flows beautifully. Yeah, that's gorgeous. That is beautiful. Amethyst Genuine does have a little bit of sparkle to it. It's a one that I keep on my palette of Daniel Smith rather than Carbazol Violet. I do keep Amethyst Genuine on my palette. And it's just purely not because I think it acts I think it acts better. So that's why I keep it on my palette. Not because it's light fast. I don't know the light fastness. Let's see. It does not say whether it's light fast or not. You know, paint with it if you want. If you don't want it, you know, I don't sell my work. So, or at least I don't yet. So I like the way that looks. I like the way it acts. So I'm going to continue to use it. Okay, the next one is Cobalt Blue Violet. Uh-oh, got a little bit of pigment on there. Shoot. Let's try to lift it. So this is Cobalt Blue Violet. Let's see how it compares. Oh no, it exploded. It exploded, so I'm going to have to put it down. Okay, I had a mess. I had a mess. So I've got some Cobalt Blue Violet here. This exploded on me, so be careful. Be prepared to have some place to put your paint if it comes out really quickly. So this is Cobalt Blue Violet. And it's a pretty color. It leans more blue. Doesn't flow on the paper. But it's pretty. So we're going to leave that. I might coax it over just a little bit more so you can see it. Diluted down. It blends really well. It might be pretty for skies. Cobalt Blue Violet. Last line here, and I do have a PWC too, so we'll do that. But the next line, I have Rose of Ultramarine. This should be a violet color. I'm expecting it to be, now that Quin Violet, that dried down, you know, very close to this Quin Purple. It looked really red when it went down on the paper. But when it dried down, it got a better effect. Although I do like this. Oh, I have it up too far. I do like this Michael Harding Quin Purple. Okay, so let's go down here to Daniel Smith, Rose of Ultramarine. There we go. Yeah, this is pretty. Not a lot of movement. Not a lot of movement. I like that flow. But it is a beautiful color. And I believe it's going to have some really nice granulation. And I think it's going to separate really pretty too. I can already see like the blue pigments separating from the violet pigments. Oh, that's pretty. Okay. All right, so this is what we have so far. Now we're going to go on, and this is a Primatech color, and I might put that, because this Amethyst Genuine was a Primatech color, and this Purpite Genuine is what we're going to do next, and it's a Primatech color. So let's just get that down. I like doing these comparisons because, you know, look at that Holbein Permanent Violet. It's really, really pretty. And then you can buy each of these in a tube, whichever one you want and whichever one you like best, to make your perfect palette. You'll know how they move. You'll know how they dry down. Okay, here's Purpite Genuine. Purpite Genuine. This is a more muted tone. Not real bright. Really moves. It's got some granulation already. I like this a lot. Kind of reminds me of that Nocturno. No, not really. This Nocturno's more black. This is pretty though. This has got some like dark bits of granulation in it. This is pretty. I really like this color. Really pretty for landscapes, I think. A lot of people really love Moon Glow. It's a mixture of 3 pigments: PB29, PG18, which is Viridian, and PR177, which is Anthraquinoid Red. So let's take a look at it. Let's move this up so we can see a little better. I might have cut that off. Sorry if I did. Okay, Moon Glow. Oh, it's a nice dark, which I knew that, but it is mainly in the violet family. I think it belongs on here. Moon Glow. Beautiful shadow color. Isn't that gorgeous? However, I think the red in it is fugitive. So you might want to consider that. But you could mix your own Moon Glow. And I have a short on that, a short video. So it's an easy color to mix with ultramarine blue and maybe a quinacridone red and just add a touch of green to it. It's an easy dupe to come up with. But this is a really nice, convenient color. All right, the next one I got is, this is a new to me color. It's called Iridescent Vibrant Raspberry. And it's one of these specialty colors. And I don't know if it's something you'd want to use in a painting to last forever. It has, but it might be light fast. Let's see if it says. Light fastness 1, series 1. Or series 3, light fastness 1. So I think that's very good. This might be just a little bit too red. It's kind of orange. I just thought I'd test it against these. Thought it might have a violet undertone, but it really doesn't. You know, I thought it might have, and we'll see when it dries down. I have a little bit of binder separation, but it might dry down to like a Quin Violet or something, because the tube has like a purple top on it. So I thought it might be a comparable, but it really doesn't. It stands out like a sore thumb on this page. So that's good to know, because when you're in the online on Amazon or something and you see that and you think it might be a purple leaning, it's really not. It's kind of orangey pink. All right, and then we're gonna do Daniel Smith's Wisteria and compare it to Michael Harding's Wisteria. You really can't go wrong. Oh, Daniel Smith's Wisteria is really moving. It's really pretty. I've never done a comparison. That is gorgeous. It's PW6 and PR122. Isn't that pretty? Let's look at it up against Michael Harding's. Oh, let's zoom out. Yeah, this one compared to this one. Very different. Michael Harding's is got more blue in it, and it does have more blue. PW6, PR122, and PB29. And this is just PW6 and PR122. So that is I think that's a prettier color. It's more pinky. Now the lavender is more blue, but I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. So let's look at the PWC and get that violet. And I'm going to just choose I have several, but I don't have enough room for all of them, and I'm not going to go to 2 pages. Okay, let's do that one. Let's do PV23. That way we can compare it to all the other dioxazines. It is Mineral Violet. It's kind of looking like I don't have a lot. It's pretty. Okay, let's just look at this lavender, PWC lavender, and I'm going to put it right down here. It's more blue leaning. It looks almost blue. And then here is Permanent Violet on PWC. And I think this is more like dioxazine. But it says it says it's PV3. And that's pretty. It's kind of like that Mission Gold. I mean, that is gorgeous. That's gorgeous. However, the light fastness on it is 2 stars. You get into 3 stars when you get into Cobalt Violet. And, you know, I don't recognize some of these pigments. Cobalt Violet Light. Let's look at that. Cobalt Violet Light. It's not wanting to move very well. It says the pigment is PV14. So, you know, I'm not recognizing that pigment. It's kind of the color of Wisteria. So, I typically, you know, if you want me to do this dot chart all in one, let me know in the comments. If you made it this far, let me know what color you want me to do next on comparison of legacy brands. So I want to thank you for hanging out with me today in my studio, and I will talk to you later. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you. Bye.